Have you ever felt persecuted, wronged, or surrounded by people who wish you harm? Have you ever experienced that painful feeling of being attacked without reason, of having your reputation tarnished, or of facing enemies who seem relentless in their evil purposes? If your answer is yes, know that you are not alone. Throughout history, millions of people have gone through similar situations, and many of them found refuge and protection in an ancient and powerful prayer, Psalm 17. This psalm, written by King David thousands of years ago, remains one of the most effective prayers for those seeking divine protection against persecution, injustice, and spiritual attacks. But what is the secret of this psalm? Why has it been so powerful over the centuries? And how can you use it to obtain urgent protection in your own life? In this text, we will explore Psalm 17 in depth, uncovering its secrets, understanding its meaning, and learning how to apply it practically and effectively in situations of persecution and danger. To truly understand the power of Psalm 17, we must first understand the context in which it was written. King David, the author of this psalm, was a man who knew deeply what it meant to be persecuted. Even before becoming king, David was hunted by King Saul, who saw him as a threat to the throne. For years, David lived on the run, hiding in caves, constantly fearing capture and death. Even after becoming king, David faced countless persecutions. His own son, Absalom, conspired against him and tried to take the kingdom. External enemies constantly threatened Israel. Envious people spread lies and slander about his character. In the midst of all these adversities, David developed an intimate relationship with God, and from that intimacy came many of the Psalms, including Psalm 17. Psalm 17 is classified as both a prayer and an individual lament. In it, David cries out to God for justice and protection against his enemies. He is not asking for personal revenge, but for God to manifest his justice and intervene on behalf of the innocent who is being persecuted unjustly. Let's examine Psalm 17 in its entirety to understand every aspect of this powerful prayer. Hear, O Lord, my righteous plea, listen to my cry. Give ear to my prayer, it does not rise from deceitful lips. Right from the beginning, David establishes his innocence. He is not asking for protection to hide his sins, but crying out for justice because his cause is just. He emphasizes that his prayer is sincere, coming from the heart, not from deceitful lips. This is crucial. The effectiveness of this prayer depends on the sincerity and purity of heart of the one who prays. May my vindication come from you, may your eyes see what is right. David calls upon the divine tribunal. He recognizes that God is the supreme judge, the one whose eyes see everything and who perfectly knows the truth. He asks God to judge his situation and bring justice. Though you probe my heart and examine me at night, though you test me, you will find nothing. I have resolved that my mouth will not sin. Here, David demonstrates complete confidence in God's approval. He invites God to examine his heart, even in the most intimate moments, at night, knowing that God will find no malicious intent. This transparency before God is essential for those seeking divine protection. As for people's deeds, by the word of your lips I have kept myself from the ways of the violent. David testifies that he has conducted himself according to divine principles, avoiding paths of violence and injustice, even when dealing with evil people. My steps have held to your paths, my feet have not stumbled. This is a prayer for continual guidance. David acknowledges that he needs God's direction to remain firm and not stray from the right path. I call on you, my God, for you will answer me. Turn your ear to me and hear my prayer. David expresses his faith in God's response. He prays not with doubt, but with certainty that God hears and answers. Show me the wonders of your great love, you who save by your right hand those who take refuge in you from their foes. This verse is particularly powerful. David asks God to manifest his mercy in a wonderful way and acknowledges that God saves those who take refuge in him. Keep me as the apple of your eye, hide me in the shadow of your wings. One of the most beautiful and meaningful phrases of the psalm. The apple of the eye, the pupil, is the most precious and protected part of the human body. David asks to be protected with that same care. The image of wings refers to the protection a bird gives its young, sheltering them under its wings in times of danger. From the wicked who are out to destroy me, from my mortal enemies who surround me. David specifies against whom he seeks protection, the wicked oppressors and mortal enemies who surround him. They close up their callous hearts and their mouths speak with arrogance. This describes the persecutors, insensitive people hardened in pride, arrogant and full of vanity. They have tracked me down, they now surround me with eyes alert to throw me to the ground. David describes the intensity of the persecution. His enemies are observant, waiting for any chance to strike him down. They are like a lion hungry for prey, like a fierce lion crouching in cover. A powerful metaphor comparing his pursuers to lions hungry for prey, ready to attack and devour. Rise up, Lord, confront them, bring them down. With your sword rescue me from the wicked. Here, David makes a direct plea for divine intervention. He asks God to rise, confront his enemies and deliver him. Deliver me, Lord, by your hand from such people, from those of this world whose reward is in this life. May what you have stored up for the wicked fill their bellies, may their children gorge themselves on it, and may there be leftovers for their little ones. David contrasts those who live only for material things with those who seek what is eternal and spiritual. As for me, I will be vindicated and will see your face. When I awake, I will be satisfied with seeing your likeness. The psalm ends with a declaration of faith and hope. David trusts that through divine justice, he will behold the face of God and be transformed into his likeness. The secrets of Psalm 17 revealed. Now that we've understood the full text, let's uncover the secrets that make Psalm 17 so powerful for protection against persecution. 1. The power of a clear conscience. The first secret of Psalm 17 lies in the clear conscience of the one who prays. David does not try to hide his sins or justify his mistakes. He stands before God with total transparency, inviting him to examine his heart. This honesty and integrity are fundamental for the prayer's effectiveness. When you pray Psalm 17, you must make an honest self-assessment. Are you being unjustly persecuted, or are you reaping the consequences of your own actions? If you are aware of wrongdoing, the first step is repentance and confession. Only then can you cry out for protection with the same confidence David had. 2. The invocation of the divine tribunal. David does not seek to take justice into his own hands. He hands his case over to the divine court, recognizing that God is the supreme judge. This is a powerful secret. When you place your situation in God's hands, you cease to be a victim and become someone awaiting divine justice. When you pray Psalm 17, you are literally opening a case in the heavenly court. You present your cause, your evidence, your upright conduct, and ask the divine judge to issue his verdict. 3. Protection as the apple of the eye. The phrase, "keep me as the apple of your eye," is not just poetic, it holds deep meaning. The pupil is automatically protected. When something approaches it, the eyelid closes instantly without conscious effort. It's a reflex. When you pray for this kind of protection, you're asking God to protect you automatically, instinctively, constantly. You don't need to be on constant alert. God assumes that role. For refuge under the divine wings. The image of hiding under God's wings represents a place of intimacy and absolute safety. It is not a distant, cold protection, but a close, warm, loving one. This secret reveals that divine protection is not just a shield, but a fatherly embrace. ChatGPT. When you seek refuge in the shadow of God's wings, you are entering a spiritual place of intimacy with the Creator. In this place, the enemy's attacks cannot reach you. 5. The declaration of faith at the end. David ends the psalm not in despair, but with a declaration of faith. He affirms that he will behold the face of God and be satisfied. This is a crucial secret. Protection begins when you already have victory in your heart, even before it manifests in your life. When praying Psalm 17, do not end in despair or fear. End as David did, declaring your faith that you will see God's justice, that you will behold his face, and that you will be transformed into his likeness. How to use Psalm 17 for urgent protection. Now that you know the secrets, let's look at the practical aspect. How to use Psalm 17 when you need urgent protection from persecution. Step 1. Prepare your heart. Before praying Psalm 17, take a moment to examine your heart. Ask yourself, is my conscience clean? Is there something I need to make right with God or with others? If there is, resolve it first. Confess your mistakes, ask for forgiveness, make restitution if necessary. Step 2. Find a quiet place. Although you can pray Psalm 17 anywhere, when possible, find a quiet place where you can focus. Turn off distractions, calm your mind, and prepare for an intimate conversation with God. Step 3. Read the entire psalm aloud. There is power in the spoken word. Read Psalm 17 aloud, slowly, meditating on each phrase. Do not rush. Let the words sink into your spirit. After reading the psalm, pray again, but this time, personalize it. For example, Lord, hear my righteous plea. You know that, describe your situation. I am being persecuted by, identify who or what. But I know you are my judge. Examine my heart and see that I have no malicious intent. Keep me as the apple of your eye. Hide me under the shadow of your wings. Protect me from those who describe the actions of your persecutors. Step 5. Declare protection over your life. After praying, make declarations of faith such as, I declare that I am protected as the apple of God's eye. I am hidden under the wings of the Almighty. No harm will reach me, for the Lord is my refuge and my fortress. The justice of God will manifest in my case. I will behold the face of the Lord and be satisfied. Step 6. Pray frequently. In times of urgent persecution, do not pray only once. Pray Psalm 17 several times a day. In the morning before your activities, at night before sleeping, and during the day whenever you feel fear or anxiety. Step 7. Combine it with other psalms of protection. Although Psalm 17 is powerful, you can combine it with other protective psalms such as Psalm 91, Divine Protection. Psalm 23, God as our protecting shepherd. Psalm 121, the Lord as keeper. Psalm 140, Deliverance from evil men. Step 8. Use practical wisdom. Prayer is powerful, but God also expects you to use practical wisdom. If you are being persecuted, take sensible steps. Seek counsel, protect yourself legally if necessary, avoid unnecessary risky situations. Faith works hand in hand with wisdom. Testimonies of the power of Psalm 17. Throughout history, countless people have testified to the effectiveness of Psalm 17 in times of persecution and danger. Maria, a businesswoman. I was the target of a smear campaign orchestrated by a competitor. Lies were spread about my company and character. My business was on the brink of collapse. Someone taught me Psalm 17, and I began praying it 3 times a day. Within 2 weeks, the truth began to come to light. The people spreading the lies were exposed, and my reputation was restored. John, a religious leader. I faced persecution within my own faith community. Influential people conspired to remove me from ministry through false accusations. Psalm 17 became my daily prayer. God intervened supernaturally. The conspiracies were uncovered, and I remained in the position to which God had called me. Anna, a teacher. I was being persecuted by a jealous co-worker who tried to sabotage my career. She spread rumors and created situations to harm me professionally. When I began praying Psalm 17, I felt a supernatural peace. God guided me with wisdom in every situation, and eventually that person was transferred to another department. These testimonies are not guarantees that your situation will resolve in the same way, but they demonstrate that God hears the sincere prayers of those who seek refuge in Him. Understanding the types of persecution. Psalm 17 is effective against various forms of persecution. 1. Physical persecution. When someone threatens your physical safety, your life, or your family. This is the most evident form of persecution and requires not only prayer but also practical safety measures and, when necessary, the involvement of authorities. 2. Professional persecution. When you face sabotage at work, conspiracies to damage your career, or attempts to tarnish your professional reputation. Psalm 17 asks God to reveal the truth and bring justice. 3. Social persecution. When you become the target of gossip, slander, social exclusion, or character assassination. This can be emotionally devastating, but Psalm 17 reminds you that God sees the truth and will judge righteously. 4. Spiritual persecution. Spiritual attacks, demonic oppression, or persecution because of your faith. Psalm 17, combined with other spiritual resources, offers powerful protection against these assaults. 5. Judicial persecution. When you face unjust lawsuits, false accusations, or manipulation of the legal system. David entrusts his case to the divine court, recognizing that there is a higher judge above every earthly one. The importance of faith and persistence. A crucial aspect of using Psalm 17 is understanding that divine protection operates in conjunction with your faith. It is not a magic charm or an automatic formula. It is a prayer that must be made with genuine faith. Faith does not mean the absence of doubt or fear. Faith means trusting God despite fears and doubts. David was afraid, his Psalms reveal it clearly. But he chose to trust God in spite of fear. Persistence is also essential. Some situations of persecution are resolved quickly, others require time. Keep praying, keep trusting, keep declaring your faith. Do not give up. Conclusion: the protection that comes from heaven. Psalm 17 is not just an ancient prayer. It is a powerful spiritual resource available to you today. When you feel persecuted, wronged, surrounded by enemies, or oppressed by difficult circumstances, you have a refuge. The God who protects as the apple of his eye, who hides under his wings, who judges with justice. The secrets of Psalm 17 are: present yourself before God with a clean conscience. Entrust your cause to the divine court. Seek refuge in intimacy with God. Declare faith and victory before seeing it. Persist in prayer with confidence. No matter how great the persecution you face, how powerful your enemies may seem, or how impossible your situation appears, the God of Psalm 17 is greater. He is your protector, your judge, your refuge, and your fortress. Start today using Psalm 17 in your life. Pray with faith, pray sincerely, pray persistently. And prepare to see God's justice manifested on your behalf. The protection you need does not come from human strength or earthly strategies. It comes from heaven, from the God who promised to guard those who trust in him as the apple of his eye. May Psalm 17 become your daily prayer for protection, and may you experience the liberating power of divine intervention in your life. You are not alone in your battle. The God of David is also your God, and he is ready to protect you.